going on, everybody? It's your man Louie T here on this Friday afternoon. Hope the week treated you well. Hope the weekend treats you even better. NFL Honors Awards ceremony was last night. We will talk about the results. I think everything went the way that we thought it was going to go. Pro Football Hall of Fame announcement was made last night as well. That didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, and I'm actually proud of the panel for doing their job. We'll talk about that, but the most important thing we're going to talk about today is Super Bowl 59. The moment has finally arrived. Chiefs, Eagles rematch of Super Bowl 57. Legacies are on the line in this game on both sides. We'll talk about that. I'll give you my preview of the game and my prediction and more. And we'll hear from you out there as well. You're locked into the Louie T Network podcast that starts now. The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the 482nd installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Number of topics to get to today. I won't delay. It is Friday. I do not want to hold you up because you know how it goes on Fridays. Just got paid Friday night. I'm not going to hold you up to spend that bread, right? Wherever you got to go to have a good time, I'm not going to stop you from getting there. So with that said, because I got some shit to get on, right? So with that said, we're going to jump straight to the proceedings this afternoon, starting off with, you already know, the gym dropping session. Let me drop this gym on your melon. Open your mind. Let your conscience be free. You're now rolling with your man, Louie T double E. Let me open you up. Get you thinking a little bit. So I want to start off talking about the NFL honors. And awards were given out last night. And I don't think anything went the way, I don't think anything went abnormally. I think everything that happened last night, we expected. There were no curveballs. There was no, wait a minute. How'd that happen? The biggest debate was league MVP. It was a two-man race, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. It was hotly debated. Josh Allen, I think, sold up league MVP with his performance on the road at Detroit. Going in there at the time, the Lions, I believe, were a 13-1 team and putting up 48 points and defeating the Lions in that game. I think most people said after that game, Josh Allen's your league MVP. Lamar Jackson finished the season with a bang. Allen then, I think, went on the road and lost to the Rams the following week. So it kind of opened back up the door. But I told you that I felt like the voters were going to punish Lamar Jackson for being a two-time league MVP, including winning the award just a season ago. The season he put forth this year dwarfs each of the first two MVP award-winning seasons that Lamar Jackson had. So statistically, and just like last year, and again, the postseason doesn't make a difference. These awards are already voted on prior to the postseason getting underway. These are regular season awards. That said, Lamar Jackson, as he customarily does, didn't get it done in the postseason. So it didn't really matter what the postseason results were. The bottom line is he had a better season than he had in the previous two MVP winning seasons. And not to disparage Josh Allen in the season he had, because it was phenomenal and he deserved to be league MVP He just didn't deserve to be league MVP over Lamar Jackson. That said, Josh Allen is a worthy candidate here. He had a tremendous season. He played the best season of his NFL career to date. And I don't have any issues with him winning the award. I don't. But let's be clear for the record, Lamar Jackson should have been league MVP. He threw 41 touchdowns. He ran for another 7, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had 48 total touchdowns on the season and only threw 4 interceptions, while amassing, I think, over 4,000 yards. And I think he rushed for, not sure if he rushed for 1,000 yards. He may have. I mean, it's Lamar Jackson we're talking about here. He also set the record for most rushing yards by a quarterback in NFL history this season. So, again, I think this was the league just saying, hey, Lamar, you've already won twice. Let someone else win. Josh Allen had the best season of his NFL career, took his team to the AFC championship game for the second time in his career. Again, that doesn't matter because it's not a postseason and regular season award. It's just a regular season award. But you'll win again, Lamar. Don't worry about it. Let Josh have one. That's kind of what that felt like to me. Congratulations to Josh Allen, though. A very deserving recipient of league MVP honors. Offensive player of the year, Saquon Barkley. I don't think anybody is debating that. Rushed for over 2,000 yards. Could have easily broken the single season rushing mark set by Eric Dickerson back in 1984 of 2,105 yards. Had he played in the final game versus the Giants, he would have eclipsed that record with ease. So I don't think anybody is debating Saquon Barkley being the offensive player of the year. Well-deserved, and congratulations to him. Defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain II. PS2 gets it done. And if you're a fan of a team in the NFL, that's what you're looking for. Your team to draft a corner in the first round and him become defensive player of the year. The two hardest positions to knock it out of the park at are edge rusher and corner because they are so vital to the success of your team. You can find a linebacker anywhere. You can find a defensive tackle anywhere, any round. You can find a safety anywhere. It's incredibly hard to find a game-changing corner and edge rusher because of the importance placed on those two positions on the field defensively. And they've knocked it out of the park with Patrick Surtain II. He's a tremendous corner. He's viewed as one of the, if not the top corner in the NFL. And he was outstanding and a huge part of the reason why the Denver Broncos defensively were awesome yet again and were able to win double-digit games and make it to the postseason despite starting a rookie quarterback. Congratulations to him. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels, no surprises there. He probably had that award sewn up after week 13, probably. There was a little, sort of a downturn, a malaise, we'll call it, if you will, in his season from weeks 10 to 12 with 3 straight losses where he didn't necessarily play his best football. Was dealing with an injury at the time, but didn't matter. No excuses. He didn't play well. Came back, finished the season with a bang, including that massive win on the road or at home versus the Philadelphia Eagles in comeback fashion. He had a flair for the dramatic. So did his Commanders. And he was almost unanimously voted Offensive Rookie of the Year. To go back to the MVP conversation, Josh Allen won the MVP award in the closest race ever for an MVP. I think he won by like 16 or 18 points, something to that effect. It was a very tight race, as it should have been, but Allen won. The Offensive Rookie of the Year was not a close race. As a matter of fact, Daniels received 49 of 50 first place votes. The only, let's not call names, the only person to not vote him Offensive Rookie of the Year was PFF Sam Monson. PFF's Sam Monson. And you want to know why I can't stand Pro Football Focus. Okay. Just add that to the list of reasons why I don't subscribe to PFF. Anyway, it was a runaway. Brock Bowers, who received Sam Monson's first place vote, was in second place. Bo Nix was in third. So much for the Bo Nix conversation, right? He wasn't even close. He didn't even receive a first place vote. And I only bring up who finished where because Caleb Williams finished dead last in the voting. He was 10th of 10 candidates, nominees, we'll call them. He was 10th out of 10. Guys like Joe Alt, rookie tackle for the Chargers, Ladd McConkey, rookie wide receiver of the Chargers, and yes, Drake May, quarterback of the New England Patriots, all finished ahead of Caleb Williams in the Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. Yikes. He'll be fine. Congratulations to Jaden Daniels. Well deserved. He also brought home hardware for the best play of the year. The Hail Mary obviously won. I mean, that goes without saying. So Daniels was all over this thing. And again, rightly deserved. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse, had a tremendous year. First Rams first round draft pick since 2016. Let me say that again. First Rams first round draft pick since 2016. He was the first Rams player selected in the first round since the Rams became the F them damn first round pick Rams. And he was fantastic. He and his Florida State teammate Braden Fisk were nominees in the Defensive Rookie of the Year category. Both were outstanding. That's the guy that I wanted Washington to select over Johnny Newton. But Verse led all rookies in sacks, pressures, quarterback hits. You name it, he pretty much was there. Had a dominant performance in the NFC divisional round game against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's got a very bright future. He reminds me so much of Khalil Mack in terms of the brute force and power that he plays with. And we've seen that on display this year. Congratulations to Jared Verse for winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year. This was a hotly debated conversation. I think this was a two-man race. Joe Burrow won the award. I think this is one that gets hotly debated every year because of the requirements for this award aren't very clear. Like what defines coming back, right? What is the definition of a comeback player? Do you have to be injured and return to the field? Did you just have to have a down year? Like, I think if you want to create clarity with this award, you should also come up with a most improved player award that would separate the two instead of cramming them all into one category, because this award was basically between Joe Burrow, who I thought should have won the award because he got injured, right? Didn't finish the season last year and came back and played and easily could have won MVP if his team was better, probably would have won league MVP if his team were better and made the postseason. And then Sam Darnold, who was perfectly healthy, perfectly fine. Nothing happened to him last year. He just didn't play and then had a tremendous year. He should have been most improved player. And there should be an award for that. And that would stop the conversation. Like last year, Joe Burrow won, or Joe Flacco, excuse me, won comeback player of the year. He should have won most improved player, right? Because he didn't come back from anything. He just didn't really play the year before. And so DeMar Hamlin should have won the award last year, and he almost died. So, that was the debate last year. If you just have a most improved award, I think it will get rid of the conversation surrounding this particular award. But Joe Burrow deserved to win this award. He got injured last season, missed the final 8-9 games of the year, and came back and destroyed the league this season. And again, rightfully deserved award winner there. Congratulations to Joe Burrow. Coach of the year. Head coach of the year. We knew this was going to go to Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings head coach. Again, who would have thought that the Vikings were going to do anything? Forget about the fact that they were starting Sam Darnold. He was supposed to start the season initially with Sam Darnold, but the prevailing thought was at some point he would give way to rookie J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy had a sparkling debut in the preseason versus the Raiders, and I said, you know what? There's a chance that McCarthy could end up being the week 1 starter. He got injured in that game, required surgery, missed the entire campaign. And so the keys were fully handed over to Sam Darnold, and we just thought, well, that's going to be a train wreck and a disaster. But it wasn't. And credit must be given to Kevin O'Connell for that. Sam Darnold enjoyed the greatest season of his career. He may cash in, or in this case, cash out with a contract after the season he turned in. We'll see. Someone's going to be desperate enough to give him a little something. But nobody anticipated the Vikings being in a winner-takes-all, NFC North showdown with the number 1 seed on the line in Week 18 versus the Detroit Lions, with the winner finishing the season at 15-2. Didn't see the Vikings being involved in a game like that. And I know there's a lot of discussion about, well, look at because the Vikings, they just missed the playoffs the year before. So it's not like they were a terrible team. And the argument could be made, look at what happened with Washington and Dan Quinn coming in, taking a 4-13 team that no one had any expectations for, and taking them all the way to the NFC Championship game. Remember, this is a regular season award. What Dan Quinn did in the postseason has no effect or bearing on the outcome of this decision. Okay, this is strictly a regular season award. Now, the Vikings did not win their division, neither did Washington. Washington had a bigger turnaround than the Vikings did. But again, the Vikings had a chance to be the number 1 seed, and they did it with, when a rookie comes on the scene and nobody knows what to expect, things can happen. We've seen it happen before. Not to this level, but a rookie quarterback can change the fortunes of a franchise. Sam Darnold's NFL narrative and book had already been written. He stinks. That's what the narrative was. He's a backup now. He's a guy that can be a bridge if you need him to, but by no means is he a full season starter that will have a chance to put you in a position to be the number 1 seed in the postseason. That's not going to happen with Sam Darnold as your quarterback, your starting quarterback. Yet that's what almost happened. So for that, I understand why Kevin O'Connell is the coach of the year. And again, I didn't have any issues with that. I'm biased. I thought it should have been Dan Quinn, but I totally understand and get. I can play both sides. I can do the devil's advocate thing. I pretty much just did as to why Dan Quinn could have won this award. What I haven't done, and I probably should do, is I want to see who finished second, third, et cetera, et cetera. As long as Dan Quinn finished second, I'm fine, right? As long as he finished second. If he didn't finish second, then I'd have an issue. But that's nor here nor there. Who cares about who finished second? Nobody's good. 3 years from now, we're not going to go, do you remember who finished second in the Head Coach of the Year award in 2025 or 2024? No, we're not. So congratulations to Kevin O'Connell. KOC definitely deserved to win the award. Assistant Coach of the Year, Ben Johnson, right? That was a no-brainer. He's now a head coach, but For the second straight year, he absolutely murdered it in Detroit, and he landed himself a head coaching gig because of it. Congratulations to Ben Johnson. And I feel good because we got our lick back before he left, which was the goal before the season started. We called out Ben Johnson. We said, hey, I don't know. I think I got a knack for this. I got a penchant for, hey, don't let me catch you way before, that time comes, right? Told the Eagles, don't let me catch you out in these streets undefeated. Knock them off. And I told Ben Johnson, hey, don't let me catch you in these playoff streets before you go. I got something for your ass. Pause. Boy, did we ever. So feel good about that. But congratulations to Ben Johnson for becoming the assistant coach of the year. I was disappointed that Cliff Kingsbury wasn't on that list, to be honest with you. But all of the names that were on that list were deserving. But thought Cliff Kingsbury should have been on that list as a candidate in any event. Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year goes to Eric Armstead of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think this is a really cool award. It's really prestigious. I love the fact that the NFL puts the emblem on your jersey and on your helmet. So for the rest of his career, he will have that insignia on his jersey and on his helmet, identifying him as one of the elite members of the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Club. I love seeing guys who win that award have that, insignia, that logo on their jersey and helmet. Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott and other guys around the league who were fortunate enough. Cameron Hayward. So many guys have won this award, and it's an awesome award honoring an awesome guy. And Eric Armstead is the latest to have this honor bestowed upon him. So congratulations to Eric Armstead for all the great work he's done in the community. This is an award that is more about who you are off the field than it is on the field, and I love that. I love that we celebrate how much these guys actually do in their communities, because sometimes we talk about all the negative stuff that happens to these guys and forget that they're human sometimes. We don't talk enough about the good stuff that's being done by these athletes. So this is one of those awards that highlights that, and I love that. So congratulations once again to Eric Armstead. So those were the NFL honors handed out last night. Do you have any objections? Leave it down in the comment section. We'll get to your comments. Make sure you use the hashtag LouieTLive or Super Chat if you want that comment to be read, and we'll get to those comments a little bit later on in the show. As a matter of fact, let's do it now. All right. Let's go social media. Let's have some social media maneuvers, man. I'm a midday marauder. You know what it is. If you're out there and you want your comment read on the air, use the hashtag LouieTLive over to have your comment read on the air if it is pertinent and time permits. If you want to ensure that your comment is read, use the super tap function. That will ensure that your comment is not only put up on the screen, but read and reacted to, and it allows you to move straight to the front of the line. So with that said, let's get to social media maneuvers. And I want to take this time to focus solely on the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl 59 for me is a pretty big deal. This is a pretty big game from a legacy standpoint for both sides. We'll start with the victors in terms of the two-time Super Bowl winning champion, reigning two-time Super Bowl champion, defending champions. Let me put some respect on their names. Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs, looking to do something no other NFL franchise has ever done. and that is three-peat. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's legacy, Travis Kelce, all the guys that have been a part of this run, Chris Jones, all their legacies are already cemented from the standpoint that they're winners at the highest level. That can't be changed with a loss on Sunday. But here's something that can and will change, and they probably won't ever get another opportunity to do this, and that's three-peat. That's never, ever been done in NFL history. Never. And I didn't think we would ever be here again. It's so hard to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. Winning two in a row, winning one is incredibly tough. Let alone winning two. To even get back to the place where you can have a chance, I don't think we've ever seen a team get back to the Super Bowl with a shot to win three in a row. I don't think a team has been denied access at the Super Bowl altar before. We've had teams win two Super Bowls in a row, but they didn't get back to the Super Bowl the following year, right? They made it to the playoffs, but they got eliminated, right? The Chiefs have a chance to do something that has never been done before. And I don't even think a team has gotten to this point. Now, I could be wrong about that. I'm just thinking about the teams that have won two straight. Now, my recollection's a little fuzzy in the 70s. I'm pretty sure the Steelers probably won two straight, but I don't think they made it back to the Super Bowl a third time in a row to have a chance to win three in a row. I know the Dolphins won two in a row, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think they made it back that following year to, after winning the second one to have a shot to win another one. The Cowboys, so you got in the 80s, I'm not sure if anybody went back-to-back in the 80s. The 49ers were really dominant. The Redskins were pretty dominant. The NFC was pretty dominant throughout the 80s. Between the 49ers, the Bears, the Redskins, and the Giants, the 80s was dominated by the NFC. But I'm not sure if any of those teams, maybe the 49ers, if anyone did. I know the Giants never went back-to-back. I know the Redskins never went back-to-back. They went two back-to-back Super Bowls in 82 and 83. They didn't win both of them, obviously, though, right? Maybe the 49ers did it. I'm pretty sure they probably had a stretch there where they won two in a row. They were pretty dominant in the 80s, but they never won a third. And they didn't get back to the Super Bowl that third time is what I'm getting at. The early 90s Cowboys went to 4 Super Bowls in 3 years, but there was one season missing. That three-peat year, they didn't get it there. The 49ers did, right? And you got to go until all the way to the Patriots of the early 2000s, who won it 3 and 4 years, similar to the Dallas Cowboys, in 01 and 02, but they didn't win it they won it in 01, didn't win it in 02, that was the Bucks, and then they won it in 03 and 04, and they didn't win it in 05. So they didn't have a chance to, repeat. And then we haven't seen another team do this since then, right? No one else has won 2 in a row since then. The Patriots have been a billion times, but they've never strung them together in this manner. And so the Chiefs have a chance to do something not even Tom Brady, has done. Not even the greatest of greats have had a chance to do. Andy Reid has a chance to do something no other head coach has ever done. Patrick Mahomes has a chance to do something no other quarterback has ever done. And when we start talking about the greatest of all time label, he can do something Tom Brady never did. This would considerably close the gap between he and Brady. This would put him at 4 already. Now, Brady has 7, all right? So let's make sure we're clear about where Brady sits. But it doesn't matter that Brady has 3 more rings. Brady never three-peated before. This considerably closes that gap and makes it a real conversation. The first thing, if they win this Super Bowl, the first thing that you're going to see on those debate shows is Patrick Mahomes the greatest quarterback in NFL history? And that debate is going to exist, and it'll be a real conversation. It will be a real conversation. Now, you may still say, nope, it's Tom Brady, and that's fine. But the conversation will exist. That's the thing that is on the line in this game. And again, if he doesn't win this and he remains at 3 Super Bowls, he's got plenty of time. He's still very young. He's not even 30 years old yet. Okay. He's still relatively young. A lot of time left in his career. He's going to win more Super Bowls, you would think. Now, again, how much time does he have left with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce? Because Kelce's getting up there in age. Now the conversation's starting to become, hey, is this it for you? And he had to knock that down early in the Super Bowl week of, I'm not retiring, I'm coming back next year, so you can stop asking me. And Andy Reid had to answer that same question. He already said, I'm coming back next year. So, but that's where we're at in their stages of their careers, right? So how much time does he have left with those two? Because that also matters, obviously. Once Andy hangs it up, it could be the end of Mahomes making it to the Super Bowl, but his greatness may shine through no matter who the coach is. We'll see. But that's what's on the line for the Chiefs, specifically Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They have a chance to go down in NFL history as the only coach quarterback duo to do something no other coach or quarterback individually has ever done. You do that, and there's a special place in the Hall of Fame for you, and there's a special place in the conversation when we start talking about the pantheon of where you belong amongst NFL head coaches, NFL quarterbacks. There's a special place that is reserved for you if you can do something that's never been done. That's what's on the line for the Chiefs in this game. On the Eagles side, the legacy of their head coach and their quarterback is what's on the line. So Straight Jacket Hurts is a very polarizing figure. And while a lot of people have interesting things to say about him, me being one of them, I'm not going to front. Straight Jacket has made it to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. We could talk about the supporting cast that he has and the roster that's been surrounding him. Look, you still have to go out and play good enough football. And when your number's called to make plays, you still have to do it. And he's done that. So you have to give him credit. Now, if you get there 2 times, and I understand he had a phenomenal Super Bowl the last time these 2 teams met, but it was in a losing effort. But if you get there again and you can't win, the narrative starts to switch. Getting there is cool. Winning is the most important thing. So if Straight Jacket can't win this year, it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of turn his narrative takes. And you don't want to take this for granted. There's no guarantee that Straight Jacket gets back here ever again. Like, there's real competition in his division now. The NFC as a whole is going to get better. There are young quarterbacks coming into the conference every year. Teams are getting better. So this reign of terror that the Eagles have had here over the last 3 years, because remember, they started 10-1 last year before it imploded, that could be coming to an end here. That could be coming to an end. So this is a big one for Straight Jacket, because there's no guarantee that if he wins the Super Bowl, you can say whatever you want. He's in an elite club. And the thing you can't say is he didn't win the big one. And he'll be able to say, hey, I got a Super Bowl ring, bro. Why are you even talking to me? That's huge. That deadens the conversation. When we start ranking quarterbacks, you can't just gloss over Straight Jacket anymore. Can't do it. You have to start acknowledging Straight Jacket for what he's been in this league, a winner. It's easy to gloss over him if he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. You won a bunch of games. Yeah, your team's elite. Winning's a team stat. We can brush you off. Win a Super Bowl, and now we have to recognize your greatness and what you've accomplished, whether we like it or don't like it. This is huge for Straight Jacket Hurts. As far as Nick Sirianni is concerned, every year it feels like this man is fighting for his respect, fighting for his job. All he's done is win as well. He was this close to being fired. After last season, it was such a train wreck how that season ended. Yet they made changes. He held on to his job, and he did what he's done, which is why I said I can't believe Eagles fans. And this, again, Eagles fans are the scum of the earth. All right. They are the standard. When we talk about the worst of the worst, they are the standard. Okay. They wanted him gone. They wanted Nick Sirianni gone. And look, you don't have to agree with all the decisions that he makes. You don't have to agree with some of his antics. I don't. Right? He's a douchebag. However, he's a good coach. All right. And they win. And so my whole thing was, are you really going to fire a guy that all he's done since taking over as the Eagles head coach is win and go to the playoffs? He hasn't had a season in which his team has not made the playoffs. Like, what are we talking about here? That's what blew my mind. Like, you really want to fire this guy and hire who? All he's done is win. I don't necessarily love some of his decision-making. I don't love some of his antics. But I do love the result. And now he's got a chance to stamp his legacy. Because as we've seen in Philadelphia, you can't become a made man no matter what you do. Right? Can't become a made man no matter what you do. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl, brought them their first ever title in franchise history, and he was fired 3 years later. You can't become a made man in Philadelphia. There's no loyalty. All right. Those hoes ain't loyal, is what I was once told. All right. But what he can do is cement himself as one of the best head coaches in Eagles franchise history. Buy him some time in case that there's a bad season down the road or two, that he may be able to be given some grace and mercy. Maybe not. That didn't happen for Doug Peterson. But even if he doesn't receive that grace and mercy in Philadelphia, you got a Super Bowl win on your resume. There's another job out there for you. Hell, usually if you've got a Super Bowl appearance, there's another job with your name on it. He's already got 2 in 3 years. Nobody wants to become the new Marv Levy or Dan Reeves, which he would be well on his way to becoming with a second Super Bowl loss in 3 years. But if he wins, he'll immortalize himself in Eagles lore. He'll become a made coach in the NFL, not a made man in Philadelphia. But he'll be one of those guys that if he gets canned in Philadelphia, he can call his next shot. When you have a Super Bowl ring, you can do that. Maybe this will stop all of the conversations about Nick Sirianni needing to be fired. We'll see. But there's a lot of legacies on the line. A lot of legacies on the line here. We'll see who wins out. So speaking of which, let's talk about the game. This is what it boils down to for me. I won't bore you with the particulars of what I think is going to happen. I'll just say this. Defensively, Kansas City is good enough to win this game. The formula isn't a secret. You know what you have to do. You have to at least stopping Saquon, to me, is a relative term. It's not a real thing, right? You can slow him down. You're not going to stop him. Teams this season have had some success against him. Cool. But your goal is to slow him down. That's all you're looking to do. And if you can do that enough, you're going to force Straight Jacket to have to beat you. And if Straight Jacket can do that, you tip your cap, right? He was able to make some throws in the NFC Championship game. But that was against off coverage, soft coverage, right? He had one good throw on a 4th down that was aided by a non-call on a holding penalty. But he made throws. That's the most important thing. But these were the open receivers. And this is the thing about Stray Jacket. He needs to see receivers college open, not NFL open, college open to cut it loose. This new version of Stray Jacket doesn't want to make a mistake. That's why he hasn't turned the ball over in what feels like an eternity. Ball's been on the ground. He's fumbled a couple of times. He still does do that. But you got to get to him for that to happen. But him throwing into tight windows doesn't happen very often. The Chiefs are going to play a lot tighter coverage against these Eagle receivers than what he saw in the NFC Championship game. I can assure you of that. They've got one of the best corners out there on the field in Trent McDuffie. And there will be pressure on him. There will be pressure on him. Chris Jones, they better double team him with both the center and the guard, because he can have his way with Mekhi Becton on the interior. And they're going to move him around. There'll be situations where he'll get one-on-one with Lane Johnson. And while Lane Johnson is good, he ain't the same Lane Johnson he once was. So those will be some interesting matchups up front. And George Karlaftis is having himself a season. So that'll be a fun matchup to watch. But the Chiefs have struggled stopping the run at times this season. That's what worries me about them in this game. Joe Mixon had a feast against them in the divisional round. I thought that the Bills ran the ball very effectively in the AFC Championship game. I'm not sure if Kansas City, run defense-wise, will be consistent enough to put the kind of pressure that they need to on Stray Jacket to have to deliver in the most clutch moments of this game. That's what I worry about. If they can slow down Saquon and get the Eagles into some 3rd down situations, they can get off the field. They can get off the field. And then on the other side, it's a very disciplined Philadelphia Eagles defense. Mahomes has had to deal with disciplined defenses over the last 2 years. So this is not something that's foreign to him. I thought he struggled with that a lot more last year because it was the first time where he was being denied access to throwing the ball down the field. And he had to be patient, and he didn't have a lot of weapons and targets. He's got weapons now. He's got targets. He's got guys with speed. He's got guys to get the football to. He's really got an abundance of weapons, right? But he doesn't have a great offensive line, especially the left tackle position, which has been a revolving door this season. That's something I worry about in this game against the Eagles front that can apply pressure by just rushing forward. They don't like to blitz a ton. Also, the Chiefs don't have a great run game. I can't even tell you the last time they had a 100-yard rusher. Hell, I want to know when's the last time they rushed for 100 yards as a team. And I could be tripping, and they might have done it last game against Buffalo. They might have done it the week before against Houston. I'm just telling you, they don't run the ball that effectively. They haven't run it well all season, to be honest with you. Mahomes is probably the biggest threat to run with his legs, to be honest with you. So if you can't remain somewhat balanced and you're putting the onus on Mahomes, not that he can't handle it, it could turn into a long day for the Chiefs offensively. And we've seen them struggle. They scored the most points that they've scored all season against Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. It was the first time they scored more than 30 points in a game all season. They've struggled to score. They've done just enough. That's all they got to do is win the game by 1 point. Score one more point than the Eagles do in this game. That's all they got to do. Defensively, I think the Chiefs can hang in there. They've done it all season. Even if Saquon has some big runs and is able to alter this game and impact it. Defensively, I think they can hold Stray Jacket in check because they're going to make it a lot tougher on him. The windows won't be as open. You won't be seeing receivers running wide open down the field. You can't just throw it up and have a prayer answered like he did the last Super Bowl. This Chiefs defense is better than the one he saw the last time. Way better. And here's the biggest thing. Stray Jacket Hurts struggles against blitz pressure. It's why he can't beat Tampa Bay. Right? It's why he's 0 in his career against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's why I was frustrated with how Washington played them, because on plays where we pressured him, he was uncomfortable. He took sacks. He threw the ball away. He ran. They needed a holding penalty on another play on a 4th down where we pressured. He struggles against pressure because you speed up his process. He's not a fast processor. It's the reason why he has the longest time from snap to delivery. Got an excellent offensive line, but he also needs to see it be college open. When you speed up his clock, you force him to do things he's not comfortable doing. One thing the Chiefs don't give a shit about is results as to whether their blitz pressure is working or not. They're not going to stop blitzing. They're just not. It's what they do. And theirs isn't Washington Commanders. We're going to mug the A gap with 2 guys and one's going to drop and the other one's going to rush. This ain't some old, archaic, antiquated Mike Zimmer double A gap pressure. This is some Steve Spagnuolo, crazy, sophisticated, exotic. You don't know where the hell this shit coming from. We overload on the left side only to drop out and come off the right side type shit. He better be ready, because it's going to be coming all night long. All night long. It's going to be coming all night long. If he's prepared, they'll have a good shot at winning this game. But if he's not, could be a long night for Stray Jacket, Hurts, and the Eagles. So, ultimately, my prediction for this game has nothing to do with the on-the-field stuff, because I've given you my on-the-field analysis, right? My analysis comes from, this feels eerily similar to 2017 for me. I didn't watch the NFL Honor Show, but again, you know, shit ends up on my timeline. And apparently Snoop Dogg said, because I guess he was hosting, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but I'm assuming he hosted this show. And at one point he said, the Philadelphia Eagles have a chance to do something on Sunday with a win over the Chiefs that nobody ever thought they'd be able to do, and that's, you know, get everybody to like them. They're the most hated team in the NFL, pretty much, or one of the most hated teams in the NFL. But nobody wants to see the Chiefs win, is my point, and I've been saying that. You got people rooting for the Eagles who can't stand the Eagles. Not me. Not me. I'm not one of them. But if you're not, if you're a non-NFC East team, you're probably rooting for the Eagles, right? Probably rooting for the Eagles. Only the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders fan base are the ones rooting for Kansas City, and Kansas City Chiefs fans, of course. We stand in solidarity. The rest of the league, the other 28 fan bases, are all rooting for Philadelphia. I've already told you stories of, I went to the dentist and she's like, I can't stand Patrick Mahomes and his wife, and I can't stand Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I'm sick of them. I hope the Eagles wipe the floor with them. That's the consensus. This shit feels like 2017 all over again, when people like my dad, who's a Cowboys fan, who can't stand the Eagles, rooted for the Eagles to beat Tom Brady because he was sick of seeing Brady win the Super Bowl. This feels like that. And it makes me sick to my stomach. That's why I wanted it to be the Bills. Then there wouldn't be this, confusion amongst people rooting in terms of their rooting interest. They just root against Philadelphia, which is their natural, way to go, right? That's their natural existence, to root against Philadelphia, but they can't in this situation because they feel obligated to root against the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been living dangerously all season long. I hate that they made a big deal about the officials during, and I know Eagles fans love that because now they feel they may get the benefit of the whistle just to make a point that the NFL is not rigged and we're not helping out the Chiefs. I hope, because that's some human nature shit, right? They planted, like, when you're in court and you're a lawyer or the opposing side's lawyer, right, says something to the courtroom that they know is going to be objected, and the judge is going to sustain and tell him, hey, one more outburst like that from you, and we will hold you in contempt of this court because you weren't supposed to say that shit. Hey, jury, please, scrub that last statement from your memory, right? But damage is done. He said it. He got the effect that he was looking for. That's what the Eagles did this week. That's what people have done this week. Made it a thing where the officials helped the Chiefs. So now they may be inclined to not throw a flag when they should. I hope that's not the case. The Eagles benefited from the whistle in the championship game. I don't want to see them benefit from it in the Super Bowl as well. So it'll be interesting. Really, they've benefited from it all postseason. I mean, against the Packers in Wild Card Weekend, the first play, the opening kickoff, they fumbled, they recover it, the Eagles take it from them, and they don't award the ball to the Packers. Yet when that happens to them in the NFC Championship game, they award the ball to Philadelphia. Again, make it make sense. You can't have a double standard. Either you're going to call it one way or you're going to call it the other way. You can't call it separate ways that affect the game, both benefiting the Philadelphia Eagles. I hope that type of shit doesn't happen in this game. Anyway, this feels like 2017 because the whole world is rooting for Philadelphia, just like they were back in 2017, and I hate it. And because of that, I think they're going to win this game, 27-23. Chiefs have struggled to score all year. The Eagles have been one of the best teams in the league at stopping teams from scoring. Just feels like it's lining up for them to do it again in this game. I will tell you that they've got some guys that are due for big breakout performances, right? With all that speed that they have, I could see some of the Eagles corners getting cooked in this game. I could see, an explosive play or two happening against this Eagles defense. But if they keep everything in front of them like they've done all year for the most part, I could see the Chiefs struggling to string together first downs, competent drives. And I'll say this too. This game better not come down to the Eagles field goal kicker, Jake Elliott, having to kick a kick from 50 yards or longer. Because if it does, they're going to lose this game. Point blank, end of discussion. So there's that as well. But I got the Eagles. Boy, I've never wanted to be more wrong in my life. I've never wanted to be more wrong in my life than I hope I am on Sunday. Come on, Kansas City. You dirty dogs, you. Get it done. For all of us, please. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section real quick. Then we'll move on. Kevin and PRF, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Lou, time to crash out. Quinn finished 5th behind O'Connell, McDermott, Campbell, and Reed. Only one first place vote. Wow. That is insane. I mean, like, no love for the guy that took a 4-13 program and made him 12-5. No love for that. I mean, that is mind-boggling. Like, yikes. I mean, talk about doing more with less. Nobody on that list did that with that than Dan Quinn. That's what coaching is all about, right? Squeezing the rag and getting as much as you can out of it. Nobody did that better than Dan Quinn in 2024. Like, that's amazing that he finished 5th. But, you know, again, it doesn't really matter to me because nobody remembers who finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, like I said earlier. All we remember is who won. He didn't win, and I knew he wasn't going to win, so it didn't matter. But that's crazy that he only finished with 1 first-place vote. Yikes. But, again, I'd be lying to you if I said I was surprised. I'm not surprised. All right, let's get to the comment section, and we'll knock out a few. Let's see what time it is. We got a few minutes. We won't have a lot of time, but we got enough. Sheree writes, me personally, I would have allowed 3 more spots for the Hall of Fame. It would have been Kuechly, Vinatieri, and Willie Anderson. We'll talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame to close out the show. We'll save that for the end of the show. Let's see. Sheree writes, according to every fan base, the NFL hates their team, LOL. Every person who didn't get an award or didn't make the Hall of Fame class was snubbed. That's how, you know, that's human nature. That's how fans react. Like, oh my God, I can't believe my coach didn't win. Like, Commanders fans are upset. You knew he wasn't winning that award. Relax. Relax, right? Oh my God, I can't believe Caleb Williams finished dead last in the offensive rookie. No, you probably can believe he didn't win, and he didn't even come close to winning, right? You knew he wasn't going to win. You didn't probably expect him to be in 10th place in dead last. But again, right? I can't believe having the greatest rookie tight end season in NFL history isn't good enough to win offensive rookie. Okay, Raiders fans, pipe down. Okay, stop it. You knew your guy wasn't going to win. Stop, right? That's every fan base. If you don't win, oh, my guy was robbed. He was snubbed. No, he wasn't. It's the same way in college basketball. You could extend the March Madness field out to 104 teams, and the 105th team that doesn't get in. Oh my God, this is an injustice. Bro, it's 104 teams in the field. What more do you want? You weren't good enough, right? People will never be satisfied. That's why I say don't try to appease everybody, because you'll never be able to do it. You'll never be able to do it. Kevin and PRF, right? So happy for Sterling Sharp. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Was hoping it would happen for years. You think there's any other player deserving of Hall of Fame whose career was injury shortened? I would have to think about that. That's a tough one, because generally, if you were worthy of it despite having a shortened career, you get in, right? There are guys that I didn't think belonged in the Hall of Fame that got in, that had shortened careers, like Terrell Davis. And so generally, if Gale Sayers got in, shortened career, Terrell Davis got in, shortened career, Sterling Sharp gets in finally, and he should have been in before Terrell Davis, if you ask me. He should have been in well before Terrell Davis. His career was more impactful in terms of his play. Yes, Terrell Davis was impactful to the Broncos and John Elway winning, 2 Super Bowls, and that's why he got in. Yeah, he's a 2,000-yard rusher. Sterling Sharp was putting up numbers every year. Outside of those 2 years for Terrell Davis, and I'm not saying that those other years weren't good years, but I would like to see his numbers is what I'm going to say, because he probably had 1,500 yards. He had a 2,000-yard season. I think he had an 18. He probably had a 15 in there and something else, right? Which are all good years. Don't get me wrong. But Sterling Sharp, go look at his numbers. There was a 4 or 5 year stretch where he was the best receiver in football. Like the entire league. I grew up on Sterling Sharp. But again, we'll have that conversation here in a second. Gregory Lightbody says, what is it going to take for Washington to be in the championship again? Going to have to improve the roster. Going to have to, find ways in winning time to make plays like they did this year, because they won a lot of close games, right? Going to have to take care of the ball like they did this season, right? Can't beat yourself. Can't beat yourself. And they're going to have to create more turnovers. They got lucky this year in the sense that they were able to overcome the fact that they didn't generate a ton of turnovers. They're going to have to create some turnovers. It's hard to live the way that we live this year. But the biggest thing is win games. Whatever that looks like, win games. That's how you get to the championship again. Win games. Win games. R Nice 2020 writes, why do people think Barkley would have broken the NFL record when Dickerson would have done it in one less game? It's not the same if players are breaking records because of an extra game. But that's Eric Dickerson broke OJ's record, and he had 2 more games. OJ's had the most impressive 2,000-yard rusher season. He did it in 14 games. What's your point? Records are made to be broken because if there's more games added, that's what happens. Like, we could sit here and put an asterisk next to it. Look, if you remember the 2,000-yard season, if you remember that record being broken, you can say in your mind, well, it's still not more impressive than Eric Dickerson's record in 1984. But he did it in 2 more games than O.J. Simpson did, right? So again, like, there's context to everything. Him having the extra game to break the record, okay, that's what it is. That's and guess what? There's going to be an 18th game added here in the next 2 or 3 years. So it's going to get broken at some point. And you know what people are going to say? Well, he did it in 18 games. Guess what? 10 years after that, no one's going to say, well, he did it in 18 games. He's just the new record holder, period. It is what it is. I choose to acknowledge Eric Dickerson, but understanding that if Saquon would have played in that last game against the Giants, he would have run for 150 yards. All he needed was 100, I think 105, 100 yards, right? I think he was at 2,005 yards on the season. All he would have needed was 101 yards to break the record. He would run for $150 in the first half against the Giants. He could have sat out the entire second half if he wanted to. They did the right thing by resting him, because you know what would have happened if he would have hurt himself in that game chasing the record? Oh, they would have crucified Nick Sirianni. Crucified him. They did the right thing, and especially if they win the Super Bowl. They absolutely did the right thing. But records are made to be broken, man. And in the NFL, where they keep increasing the amount of games, it's inevitable that records will be broken. Cam G Says, do you think anyone was snubbed for being a 2025 Hall of Fame finalist? I personally think Steve Smith Sr. was. Your thoughts? He was a finalist. We'll talk about that here in a second. He was a finalist. He just didn't make it. He didn't get elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All right. So let's finish up this show with our final segment. And that's, of course, garbage time. Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025 was announced last night. And I must say, I am so proud of the Hall of Fame voting panel for the job that they turned in. We had this conversation maybe 2-3 years ago about how, and Deion Sanders, brought this to light. I'd been talking about it for years, but it needs a prominent voice to put a face to it. Deion said, we can't be just letting anybody in this thing, man. You got to have some pride about yourself. The best Hall of Fame belongs to Major League Baseball, because if you weren't like the greatest player, like one of the greatest players of your era, and your numbers support that, they are not letting your ass in. Okay. They are so stringent. There have been classes where it's like one guy got in, two guys got in. That's it. Like, they don't give a shit. Nobody will get in one year. Like, the NFL, they let everybody in. Hey, you get in, you get in. You've waited long enough. You come on. You come on. And like, when I saw Leroy Butler getting, I'm like, come on, man. Leroy Butler? What are we doing here? Right? Not to shit on guys' careers, but it's the NFL, it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not the really good of fame. Like, we have to draw like distinctions and lines, and we got to be clear about this stuff. There can be a wing in the Hall of Fame for guys who did iconic things. Leroy Butler was the one that started the Lambeau Leap. Good. Put him in a wing of the Hall of Fame that's reserved for guys who did things that contributed to the game. But don't put him in the Hall of Fame, right? Deion Sanders talked about that. Not everybody belongs in the Hall of Fame. There should be gatekeepers. Like, hey, no. You can't get in, right? So let's talk about what they did, because I'm proud of them. Let's list all of the players that were eligible to be inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame here. Let's see how many names we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We got 16 names here. Willie Anderson, Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Jahari Evans, Antonio Gates, Torrey Holt, Adam Vinatieri, Terrell Suggs, Luke Kuechly, Sterling Sharp, Marshall Yonda, Steve Smith Sr., Eli Manning, Fred Taylor, Reggie Wayne, Darren Woodson. Those were the names of the guys that were finalists. Of those 16 names, only 4 made it in. Cornerback Eric Allen, edge rusher Jared Allen, tight end Antonio Gates, wide receiver Sterling Sharp. So I want to start by saying Sterling Sharp should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. He should have gotten in before his brother got in. And I'm so happy that he's finally getting in. That was the only person that they told that I watched the entire video of. Like, everybody else felt like they knew, but I didn't care. I'm happy for Eric Allen. I grew up in the Eric Allen era of football. I watched his entire career in Philadelphia. Watched him at the end of his career in Oakland with the Raiders. Hell of a cornerback. You made a mistake his way, he was taking it away. part of some really good Eagles defenses, early 90s, mid 90s. I felt like he should have been in the Hall of Fame a while ago too, but nobody was more deserving than Sterling Sharp. And I think that might have meant more to his brother, Shannon, than it did Sterling. And Sterling wanted to be in, trust me. But he said he's not a crier, but we know Shannon is. And Shannon said, I would trade everything. I would give it all back if my brother could get into the Hall of Fame because he deserves it. And listening to Shannon talk to his brother about the journey and saying the reason you deserve this more than I did is because you didn't have a roadmap. There was no Google for you. There was no MapQuest for you. The reason Pawpaw was so hard on you is because he knew I was watching. That's what Shannon said to him. He knew that you had to set the example for me. And nobody was there to guide you. I saw what it was like to be a pro. I watched you. I knew what I needed to do. I knew how to navigate because of you. You didn't have that. You had to figure it out on your own. And you had to be a role model for me. And so that was touching, right? Watching that. That was really cool, man. And you know who's going to enshrine him? You know who's going to be his introductory speaker? It's going to be Shannon, and Shannon's he's going to talk about all of that. It's going to be a good one. So happy for Sterling Sharp, man. You want to talk about a dominant run at receiver? He was in the league with Jerry Rice, guys. He was in the league when Jerry Rice. Go look at Sterling Sharp's numbers and go look at Sterling Sharp. I'm telling you. And I know Jerry Rice was on the field at the same time. There were some damn good receivers at that time in the NFL. Chris Carter was starting to hit his apex right in that 92, 93 range with the Vikings. Jerry Rice was at the top of his game early 90s into the mid 90s. It's hard to find somebody better than Sterling Sharp from probably 89 to 90. Shit, his last season, 94. You'd be hard-pressed to find many better in the league. There's a season in there, and I can't remember which season it is. There's a season in there where he's a Triple Crown winner. And at that time, he set the record for the most receptions in a single season. He had like 1,500. Remember, this is a different NFL. This is not the NFL you know and love today, where they're spreading teams out. They're throwing it 40, 50 times a game. This was not that NFL. Okay, this NFL was, oh my God, they put two receivers on the same side. This is a tricky formation. Okay, if they put three receivers, total mind blow, right? This is the days of 3 yards in a cloud of dust with a fullback on the field, right? Jim Kleinsaucer is on the field right now, okay? To do what he did in those days, crazy, bro. Crazy. And these numbers weren't posted with Brett Favre. He was putting up the numbers with the Magic Man before Brett Favre. Didn't matter who was throwing him the ball. Now, it went to another level when Brett Favre showed up. It did. But so glad he got in, man. I couldn't be more happy for anyone than him. I told you Antonio Gates should have got in last time. I'm baffled as to how he didn't get in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's just mind-boggling to me. It's almost like they did the Major League Baseball thing. Like, you got to be elite to not, to not be put in a category where you got to wait, because they love to do that in Major League Baseball. Like, okay, no, you can't get in on the first try. Maybe next year, right? Unless you're Ichiro or Derek Jeter, one of these greats, you're not getting in on the first try in baseball. It felt like that's what they did to Antonio Gates. Let's make him wait a year. He'll be fine. He'll be there next year. We'll put him in. Should have got in last year. I was surprised Jared Allen got in. I'm not going to lie. Now, not overall, like, Jared Allen was a force. And if you look at where he's ranked, I think he's top 15 all-time sacks in NFL history. He might even be top 10. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I didn't know he would get in amongst this group here, right? Before some of the other names on this list. But he's been waiting a little while. Got no issues with him. He deserves, everybody, all four guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't have any issues with any of the guys they selected. So congratulations to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. Cornerback Eric Allen, edge rusher Jared Allen, tight end Antonio Gates, wide receiver Sterling Sharp. All well deserved. Let's talk about the guys who didn't get in. So these names that you're going to hear next are all guys that have been on this ballot multiple times. They've had opportunities to get in previous years and still haven't gotten in. Offensive tackle, Willie Anderson. Offensive guard, Jahari Evans. Wide receiver, Torrey Holt. Wide receiver, Steve Smith Sr. Running back, Fred Taylor. Wide receiver, Reggie Wayne. Safety, Darren Woodson. So all of those guys have been on the ballot multiple years. These are the guys that were first-year balloteers that had a chance to get in, that did not get in on their first try. Edge rusher, Terrell Suggs. Place kicker, Adam Vinatieri. Linebacker, Luke Kuechly. Offensive guard, Marshall Yanda. And quarterback, Eli Manning. Let's talk about that name because I thought he was going to get in. And I've already told you, Eli Manning is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. But he's going to get in. And I thought he was going to get in. And I'm proud of this committee for not putting him in. And I don't know if you saw the article, but they said there were intense conversations, arguments even, that were had solely based on Eli Manning in that room when they were voting. He caused, quote unquote, quite a stir with his nomination. Good, because he'll get in. His last name is Manning. He'll get in. Okay. And yes, he won 2 Super Bowls, and there are not many quarterbacks who have done that. And I will be forever indebted to Eli Manning for defeating the 2007 New England Patriots. But if you look at his full body of work, Eli Manning is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's not. Now, there'll be arguments on the other side. But again, Eli Manning is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. The only reason that we're even having this discussion is because he won 2 Super Bowls and his last name is Manning. Had he won no Super Bowls, he would not be in the Hall of Fame. There are guys with no Super Bowls that deserve to be in over Eli Manning. Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback his entire career than Eli Manning. You could even argue Matt Ryan was a better quarterback for the duration of his career. Eli Manning never won league MVP. But again, he did win 2 Super Bowls. Can't take that away from him. That's his argument. And the 2 is what's going to get him in. Had he won 1, guess who else won 1 Super Bowl? Trent Dilfer. Guess who else won 1 Super Bowl? Brad Johnson. We can go on and on. It's a lot of guys that won 1 Super Bowl. But he won 2. And he took down some big-time Patriot teams in the process. He's going to get in. But I'm glad he didn't get in here. And there should be a debate about Eli Manning because he's not a shoe-in Hall of Fame player. I've been adamant saying this for years. I just assumed he'd get in. And I'm proud of them for putting their foot down and saying, nah, not on my watch. Not this year. He'll get in again. Like I said, he'll get in. He'll get in. But there are other quarterbacks. Drew Brees is up next year. Drew Brees is eligible. Drew Brees should get into the Hall of Fame before Eli Manning. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He should be first ballot, should Drew Brees. And more guys will be coming down the pipeline. And they deserve to be in before Eli Manning. He should be made to wait. If you're going to let him in, make him wait. At least do that. I love it. I love it. I'm shocked that you're allowed to put 5 of these guys in, right? I'm shocked that they only went with 4. That's not the pro foot. This is why I'm proud of them, right? This is not the Pro Football Hall of Fame way, right? There are years where we went, come on, bro. You were filling slots here. What are we doing here? Why did you let this guy in here? You could have stopped the class after this guy right here. You didn't have to add this extra name in here. They said, no, we got 4. We're good here. They had an extra slot. They could have given it to Willie Anderson. They could have given it to Torrey Holt. They could have given it to Reggie Wayne or Darren Woodson. These are all very deserving players. They could have given it to Luke Kuechly or Marshall Yanda. They said, no, we're good. We're good here. We got 4. We feel good. We feel really good about these 4. We don't need any more. You know what? Bravo. 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 Everybody assumed, including me, guilty as charged, that the Manning brothers would be the first brothers inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It actually ended up being the Sharp brothers, and it should be the Sharp brothers. And this should have happened a long time ago. A long time ago. So glad that it finally took place. So that's my stance on the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They got it right. They didn't put fluff in this year. They didn't just add names just to add names. They sat down, they took a hard look at the list of finalists, and they said, these are the guys that deserve to be in for this year. And we'll revisit this list next year. A lot of these same names will be on it with a few more added in, right? There are some first-timers that will be on the ballot next year that'll probably bump maybe 2 or 3 of these guys off. Drew Brees is going to be a finalist next year, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer next year. He should be, at least. But we'll see. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the 482nd installment of the Louie T Network podcast. Got a couple of supers. Let me knock these out, and then we'll get out of here. LT, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. LT writes, you still putting JD over Hurts if he beats Mahomes? Yeah, absolutely. So this is the thing. This isn't about when we rank quarterbacks. It's a combination of 2 things: talent and the ability to win, right? Your guy and his ability to win is way up here, right? Now, again, take it with a grain of salt, because if you took your guy, straight jacket Hurts, and pulled him off of this elite Eagles roster with an elite offensive line, an elite run game, and elite receivers, really good tight end, all of that good stuff, and you just plopped him on the 2024 Commanders roster, for instance, they're not even a playoff team with Jalen Hurts, the quarterback. And that's the conversations that we have. I know you guys don't like hypotheticals. That's fine. Here's what's not a hypothetical. Athletically, arm talent-wise, Jalen Hurts, straight jacket Hurts, isn't on the level of Jaden Daniels. He's not on the level of a Joe Burrow. He's not on the level of a Justin Herbert. He's not on the level of a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen. He's not. It's not debatable. He was a 2nd-round pick for a reason. All those guys were 1st-round picks. Top 10 1st-round picks for a reason. So from a talent standpoint, he doesn't jive. He doesn't fit. But he wins, right? Can't take that away from straight jacket. He wins. But when we have the conversation about top 5, top 7 quarterback in the league, we're looking at a guy's ability to take a franchise, put him on his shoulders, and lead them to victory. Guys that drive the whip. Straight jacket Hurts He controls the radio. He makes sure that the tunes are bumping in the whip. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, turn that up a little bit. That's what Straight Jacket does. He turns the knob up. Hey, turn that down, man. Man, change the station, man. He does a great job keeping everybody else in the whip entertained. Great in the passenger seat, right? But he ain't driving. Okay? He ain't driving. That's what we're talking about. When we talk about the best of the best, they drive. They drive. They got to get out and fix a flat. They can do that. They do it all. Straight Jacket ain't doing all that. Straight Jacket does a great, he can pump gas. Did you see what Jaden Daniels did this year? You see the roster he did it with? Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. Olamide Zaccheaus was on your team last year. How'd you feel about him? Yes, no? We sat on the Super Friends stream and CFT Rome said that Noah Brown was brioche buns. Brioche buns is what he called him. These are his receivers. Jamison Crowder. I'm not looking to disparage these dudes. I'm just keeping it a bean with you. Keeping it a buck. You had Zach Ertz when he was in his prime. We got Zach Ertz at 34 years old. Brian Robinson Jr. is a good back. He ain't Saquon Barkley. Hell, he ain't even DeAndre Swift. You know who's backing him up? Austin Eckler. Again, I'm not shitting on Austin Eckler, but he's also 30 years old. And behind him, Jeremy McNichols. You probably don't even know who that is. And you shouldn't. Offensive line, don't get me started. You can't name one of our offensive linemen not named Sam Cosmi. Straight Jacket Hurts ain't taking that team to the NFC Championship game. Whether you like it or don't like it. But you're not going to admit that because he's your boy. And I'm not mad at you for that. But we keep it a bean here, right? So when those lists start being made and he gets passed over until we get to about 7 or 8, that's where he belongs. There's nothing wrong with that. So even if he beats Mahomes, yes, what that's going to force me to have to do is put him over some quarterbacks that I normally probably wouldn't put him over, that are of equal talent, maybe equal talent. Maybe they're slightly more talented, but they ain't won in this league. They ain't busted a grape. It'll force me to have to do that. So, go Birds. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, JD5 is one of them ones. Great for y'all. Sit back and enjoy another one of them ones named Straight Jacket Hurts. Get his. You want Cup? Cheaper than T. I'm good on Cooper Cup. I'm good on Cooper Cup. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this Super Bowl. The only way I will truly enjoy it is if you guys lose. But I'm going to enjoy it. I'm a football fan, so I'm going to watch. I know some fans that, like, I don't want to watch this game. I don't care. That ain't me. I'm a football fan. So I'm going to watch. We'll see if Straight Jacket can get one. It's big for his legacy. It's huge for his legacy. You want to shut the haters up? This is your opportunity to do it. They only get louder if you lose again. They only get louder. Ain't no awards for second place. Remember that. Ain't no awards for second place. I'm good on Cup. I'm not looking for cheaper. I'm looking for more effective. That's what I'm after. I got money. Money ain't a problem. Or not I. We have money. Our organization has money. Money ain't the issue. We need production. I'm not paying a guy for what he used to do. That's what the old group used to do. pay guys based off of what they used to do. We paying dudes for what they can do moving forward. T is younger. He's more talented. That's who you're after if he's available. I know you don't want us to get T. Higgins, which is why you're recommending Cooper Kupp. Don't worry. If T. Higgins is available, he's a Commander. I'm not sure if he's going to be available, though. Talked about that last night on the show. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the 482nd installment of the Louie T Network podcast. I really appreciate y'all kicking it with the kid on a Friday afternoon. You could be doing a lot of things, man, but you still decided to come check the kid out, and I really, truly appreciate that. Something else you can do on the way out if you haven't already done it is hit that like button. Helps this channel grow exponentially. Doesn't cost you a thing, and it only takes a fraction of a second to help this channel grow in ways you can't imagine. So if you haven't already done that, please hit the like button on your way out. Enjoy the weekend. Super Bowl 59 will come to a head on Sunday evening. We will have a winner, and then I'm going to be here live, whether the Eagles win or not. I'm going to be here breaking it all down. We'll talk about the commercials and all that shit too. And if I'm live during the Super Bowl, I will let you guys know in advance. I don't know if I'm going to be live or not, but if I am, you'll know. If I'm not, you'll see me after the game, and we'll talk about it. So with that said, you guys have a good one. Take care. God bless, and good day. Peace. Go Chiefs. Like the Little Giants, when it was like, Giants, Giants. No, it was like, Cowboys, Cowboys, win, win, win. I feel like the Little Giants. Chiefs, Chiefs, help us, God.